Hey, let's talk a little bit about Jimmy Hart. I saw a great tweet that I wanted to share with the world here. I did this the other day with Eric Bischoff, but I feel like Jimmy Hart needs to get his flowers a little bit more.
Wow.
We've got this great tweet that came out from Sigmund Wrestling. He says we should all aim to be a friend like Jimmy Hart, loyal for life through the good times and bad, willing to protect and put over his best friend until the last day and beyond. I can't imagine what he has gone through this week, but I know he's one of the best people this business has to offer. He's one of the kindest, most giving individuals I've ever worked with. God bless Jimmy. Mr. Brisco, you've known Jimmy Hart for a long, long time. What can you tell us about his relationship with Hulk Hogan?
Not only have I known him for a long time, but I got to fly back home from the Outstanding Tribute on SmackDown the other night, and Jimmy and I, we sat in Atlanta waiting for our plane, and I just said, Jimmy, can you kind of walk me through what happened to Terry? And he kind of walked me through, and it was tough on Jimmy to even talk about it at that time there. After Friday night was such a release for all of it, emotional release for all of it. So I kind of thought he'd had it out, getting it out of his system. But we sit there in Atlanta airport, and he started. I mean, the emotion just started with Jimmy, and I just felt for Jimmy because Jimmy's one of those guys, and I hate to compare him, but he's your favorite pet. He's your favorite animal, that's with you constantly by your side. Terry did not have to worry about one single thing as long as Jimmy Hart was in the audience with him. Jimmy took care of everything for Terry, and recall Jimmy's last messages with Terry was at the Hogan hangout there, and he described seeing Terry and what's his son's name,
Nick. Nick.
Nick, Terry and Nick together, the good time they were having, the expressions on Terry's face. It brought it around as to separating the Hulk Hogan from the Terry Bollea and the father from a friend. And Jimmy got to see that fatherly type. Even he said it almost felt like Terry knew that his end was coming to a close, and he wanted to get close to Nick. He said that'll be something I'll always remember, probably more so than anything else. Was just that last two or three nights before Terry passed, the relationship of a father and son, and it brought tears to me in Atlanta airport. It was so emotional. I just feel for Jimmy because I know the dedication that he had and the love that they had for each other, and the feeling was right back from Terry on Jimmy. Terry told me a couple of times how much he respected Jimmy and how much Jimmy had helped him get through a lot of rough. Jimmy's one of those guys that you want to have for a friend all the time, 24/7. And Jimmy was there for Terry 24/7. So I love Jimmy Hart to death. Always have, even before he was part of it. Jimmy got to be was a manager of Jack and I for a couple of matches in Memphis, and we got to know him and really love and respect him. But Jimmy's one of those guys that you want around you because he's so positive at everything that he does and every comment that he makes. So God bless Jimmy Hart.
Hey, Conrad, Jimmy, was the ultimate, gatekeeper for Hogan. And like Mr. Briscoe said, he was just fantastic. Jimmy took incredible care of him. So we're doing the JBL and Colt show one day, and we wanted to get Hogan on it. Hogan was there or something. So I go to Jimmy, who I've got a wonderful relationship with. And he was literally was open the door and Hogan's behind him. I say, Jimmy, I said, we want to get Hulk on our little YouTube show. It's a silly little YouTube show, and we just want to get him on it because we think it'd be funny. We got a little funny spot for him. And I said, what do we need to do? And Jimmy goes, just ask him. so Hogan was there. I said, Hulk. He goes, John, what do you need? And I said, we have a silly little YouTube show. He goes, just tell me what you want. He goes, John, you don't have to ask. And I'm like, well, I thought I had to get, it was so cool to deal with him, but Jimmy was so much that you're so used to say, Jimmy, can I talk to him? Because he did take care of him in a lot of ways.
Hey, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, Mr. Brisco, but I think I know what your answer is going to be, so I feel comfortable asking. I had a blast spending the weekend last weekend with Eric Bischoff in Waterloo, Iowa. It was his first time to the TNT Hall of Fame. We're going to recommend that everybody listening to this come check us out next year. I'm going to be there. John's going to be there. Mr. Brisco is going to be there. And even though I promote StarCast, even I have to agree, it's the best value in professional wrestling. But I'm always surprised at who's at these things. Of course, every year it's a bigger crowd, thanks to you and your Bring a Friend initiative, Mr. Brisco. But I had a conversation with Eric about, because I always ask. I mean, I am doing this podcast right now because of my love of Hulk Hogan. Like, he is the reason I became a wrestling fan. So I would always ask Eric in confidence, hey, how's the real life Terry doing? And as we're having that conversation at the end, I said, something I'd like to see happen in the future. I want Nick Hogan to attend some of these events like the TNT Hall of Fame. We know that Charlotte Flair is going to carry on the Flair legacy, but neither of Hogan's kids are going to pursue in-ring professional wrestling. But just attending these events and being a staple and a fixture and carrying on and celebrating his dad's legacy, I hope that Nick will embrace some of those events like the TNT Hall of Fame. Can we formally invite Nick Hogan to Waterloo, Iowa next year? I think we should.
As my friend Pat Patterson used to say, please, Conrad, use your influence and let's get Nick Hogan at Waterloo, Iowa next year for the fabulous TNT Hall of Fame. He'll have the time of his life. He'll get the experience of love and respect firsthand for his father up there. I mean, Dan Gable, of all people, you sit down and you talk to Dan Gable about his first wrestling experience. You know who he's going to bring up first? It will be Hulk Hogan. Not those old timers like Vern Gagne, Don, Dick Hutton, Jack Brisco, Jerry Brisco, Kurt Angle. He'll bring up Hulk. He grew up a Hulk Hogan fan just like everybody else. So he'll find the respect not only from the hardcore wrestling fans, but from the greatest amateurs of all time that show up for that weekend, as Dan Gable would. And Nick would have the time of his life. Wow, Dan Gable actually knows who my dad was. Dan Gable actually respects my dad. So I would love that, Nick. Please, Nick, on behalf of your family, please, let's get yourself up to Waterloo, Iowa next year.
I mean, John, Nick is like the spokesperson for the Hogan family at this point, don't you think? I mean, I really want him to feel that love and appreciation because there's so many wrestling fans and people in the wrestling community. Because as you know, John, this thing is really like a large extended family, this wrestling community. And I want Nick to be a part of that and feel that. And I feel like for whatever reason, maybe it was past trials and tribulations or reality TV shows or just perceived heat on his dad or whatever it may be. Man, all of that goes away now. And I hope that Hulk Hogan, the character, and Terry Bollea, the man, can continue to be celebrated. And I want Nick to be there to represent the family. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think he should be, as a son should be, and should understand how important his father was. He may, but it's hard to understand how important a family member is when you grew up with him.
Yes.
And, Christine Londos was there. Jim Londos' daughter had one of the original belts of Jim Londos. The place was packed, to listen to her panel, which I was very fortunate to be on. But it was the same with Hogan. I mean, we're all here because Hogan was successful. If Hogan's not successful with WrestleMania, Vince may make it later, but it's going to be years. It's not going to be like it looks now. But then again, Hogan comes in the late 90s. He had the greatest run, I think, of all time. If he didn't, he's one of the top 2 or 3. And he comes back in the 90s and creates the Attitude Era when the business was dead. I mean, it was dead at that time. And he didn't create it, but he was one of the main figures, just like he didn't create WrestleMania, but he was one of the main figures. I mean, it's just an incredible run. We owe him a massive debt in this business. We stand on, the pillars of these giants, giants like the Brisco brothers and giants like Hulk Hogan. But if not for Hulk Hogan, this business doesn't look the same. And Nick, it'd be fun for him to come see that.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to savewithconrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to savewithconrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at savewithconrad.com. Shoot me an email at conrad@savewithconrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at savewithconrad.com.